Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon and it's a Sunday night, so let's talk about some cartoons. Don't have anything better to talk about. Lots of Disney news this weekend, but you can go out to piratesandprincesses.net and check out that. We're going to talk about the competition, Disney's competition. We're going to talk about Universal. We're going to talk about the Minions getting an alternate ending in China. I missed this story. I only heard of it yesterday, but apparently the ending of Minions was too spicy for China. Minions: The Rise of Gru. Now, this is a movie that I did see with Pinky Boo. It actually was pretty okay. It made a boatload of money. And the ending saw Gru, spoiler, saw Gru continuing his path to supervillainy, because that's what he wanted to be. It was a supervillain, right? Well, we can't have that. China doesn't like that, because that involves, breaking the law and defying the government and all of that. So they had to tack on an extra ending, a text ending like they did with Fight Club. So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, over 275,000 subs. We do talk about animation. We talk about the animation industry. We talk about comic books. Speaking of comic books and the animation industry, we've got an Indiegogo, a crowdfunder out there taking pre-orders for Crimson Wren Volume 1 from Clownfish Studios. That's our company. And the art is provided by a veteran of several companies, including DreamWorks. Jose Garcia is providing the artwork for this story that Geeky and I wrote. And it looks pretty good. These are some sample pages. The book's almost complete. It's going to be over 130 pages. It's going to be hardbound. It's going to be some beautiful, beautiful stuff. And I can't wait to share it with you guys. Maybe someday DreamWorks will turn it into a movie and then China can change the ending. Yeah, there we go. So let's talk about this. I'll go to the Cartoon Brew version of it. Now, Despicable Me, well, I guess it's Minions, technically. Minions: The Rise of Gru. It might as well be like Despicable Little Me, but it actually was a fun little movie. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't quote unquote woke or anything like that. It just was more Minions, and Minions make a lot of money and people love Gru. And of course, Gru wants to be a supervillain, and we can't have that. Gru has to learn a lesson. He has to mend his ways. So Cartoon Brew a couple of weeks ago actually had Minions: The Rise of Gru has alternate ending courtesy of Chinese authorities. Spoiler, it describes the final scene of Minions: The Rise of Gru. Well, actually, Despicable Me is the spoiler. We know what happens to Gru. Universal may be one of the few U.S. distributors finding joy at the Chinese box office these days, but even its family-friendly and mostly apolitical films have managed to create controversy in that country. Illumination's Minions: The Rise of Gru premiered in China last week, and audiences were quick to notice a sloppy bit of editing done to the film's finale, kind of like the editing of Blade Runner, right? At the end of the latest Minions flick, Gru and his mentor Wild Knuckles ride off into the sunset like a pair of true anti-heroes. For most of the world, that's all there is in this installment. In China, however, an extra bit of text narration is superimposed, which explains that Wild Knuckles was eventually tracked down and imprisoned for 20 years following a failed heist, while Gru returned to his family and to his greatest accomplishment of being a father to his 3 girls. So how, if they do another movie and Wild Knuckles is in it, and it takes place like a year after the first one, how are they going to explain that? And 2, they do realize that Gru becomes the world's greatest supervillain before he adopts those 3 girls, right? That's literally the plot of Despicable Me, that he's a supervillain with a heart. Yeah, no. The changes were first pointed out by users of the Chinese social media site Weibo, with many users mocking the poor quality of the PowerPoint-like edition. Others claim the post-film text is propaganda in support of China's 3-child policy as the company tries to raise its birth rate. See, I thought that was a problem. For decades, the Chinese government restricted the number of children per couple and only repealed those policies recently. Sir, a popular film blogger on the site with more than 14 million followers, called the changes outrageous and questioned why anyone would think that Chinese people needed the extra bit of exposition to guide their moral compasses. It's only us who need special guidance and care for fear that a cartoon will corrupt us. and then he went to jail. No, I don't know what happened. And then he went missing. Who knows? Minions managed to hit third at the mainland Chinese box office in its first weekend, pulling in $11.6 million. Again, U.S. movies not doing as well in China as Chinese movies. But this is kind of ridiculous because that literally is the entire plot, the entire purpose of Despicable Me is he is a freaking supervillain. He does bad things, but he does repent eventually later on. Like, what the hell? What the hell? So, yeah, this is very similar to the ending of Fight Club. If you guys heard about that, this was a couple of months ago that they tacked on an ending, a happy ending to Fight Club. Again, this is another example of the police winning. Through the clue provided by Tyler, the police rapidly figured out the whole plan and arrested all the criminals, successfully preventing the bomb from exploding. After the trial, Tyler was sent to the lunatic asylum receiving psychological treatment. He was discharged from the hospital in 2012. He should know better. He shouldn't be crazy, and he shouldn't be dangerous, but that's okay. The government rehabilitated him. They rehabilitated him. Yeah, so... again, another ridiculous example of censorship. But, you know, look, they've been doing it forever, right? Peppa Pig, they censored Peppa Pig. Of course, you know, we can't have Winnie the Pooh in China. We can't have Winnie the Pooh, but these other movies might actually surprise you. I was looking into this more. I knew that China was censoring movies more recently, but I did not realize that they had problems with very innocuous movies, very tame movies. Back to the Future. Back to the Future. Why is Back to the Future banned in China? What could possibly be so offensive about Back to the Future? This comes from Ranker. According to the Chinese government, time travel is a dangerous fictional element. They also feel that Marty McFly's foolish behavior in the film was extremely inappropriate. Can't say they're wrong on that part. Deadpool. Yes, he's foul-mouthed, rude, and abrasive. He's hilarious and charming once you get to know him. Unfortunately, the Chinese people will not have that opportunity. This, of course, is the first Deadpool. I think they put a PG-13 version of it out. So Deadpool was banned. Avatar. Why is Avatar banned? Avatar was pulled from 1,600 theaters in China after 2 weeks because of the film's financial success. Apparently, the Chinese government was concerned that James Cameron's film would do serious financial damage to its Chinese cinema competitors. Additionally, the government was concerned their own people would revolt if inspired by the story's plot, which features an uprising by the Na'vi. Wow. Okay, so that's interesting because, you know, we've been talking a lot about Disney having a hard time getting movies into China. And of course, they give, you know, reasons like, well, your actors won't shut up. They're saying anti-Chinese things, yada, 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 yada. But could it be as simple as we don't want your big blockbuster MCU movies over here, Disney, because we've got our own blockbuster movies over here and we don't want you eating into our share? That could be the case. I mean, it could be that simple. I had no idea that Avatar was pulled out of theaters because it made too much money. Who Framed Roger Rabbit banned in China? Why? When Who Framed Roger Rabbit was released in 1988, there were not a lot of movies that blended live action and animation. In China, all films that blend live action and animation are banned. China didn't make this ban to protect their citizens. Instead, it's because the country wants to make sure their homegrown animation gets seen. They feel that if there's a hybrid film on the market, it would mislead animation production. What? Ben-Hur is banned in China, still banned in China. The story about freedom and revenge was axed for objectionable superstitious parts. Basically, Christianity is the objectionable superstitious part. Brokeback Mountain. Well, we know why that was banned. It's very, very gay. It's very gay. Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Why was that banned? Because it sucked? No, it was banned in China because it portrayed the country in a negative manner. Oh, you can't do that. An unidentified Chinese censor stated, after watching the movie, I feel that Westerners have made their presentation of China with malicious intent. The Departed, there's no chance it'll be shown because the filmmakers declined to change the plot, describing how Beijing wanted to buy advanced military computer hardware. Again, you can't criticize the state. Noah was banned in China for religious reasons. Noah is a fictionalized, special effects-laden movie depicting the saga of Noah's Ark. However, its portrayal of Noah angered Christians. Additionally, Muslims were upset Everybody's pissed off about this movie, which they contend contradicts their teachings. So it was banned all over the place. The Da Vinci Code, because of storyline with Jesus and Mary Magdalene having a baby daughter. Apparently they don't like that either. Django Unchained, Memories of Geisha, Proof for China, release was reversed over concerns of Chinese actors playing Japanese characters. Ghostbusters. Yeah, this one, Ghostbusters 2016, because it deals with the afterlife. I think China isn't a big fan of ghosts, goblins, and other supernatural phenomenon that promote spirituality or the existence of a metaphysical world. A provision in the country's censorship prohibits any media that promotes cults or superstition. And while the government doesn't strictly adhere to this prohibition, the clause was trotted out to ban Ghostbusters 2016. Maybe it just sucked and they didn't want it because they let them run Coco. They love Coco. The original 84 Ghostbusters and its sequel never screened theatrically in China. And that's a big oof, because I think they were kind of depending on overseas box office to help this movie, and it didn't work. But I think America's learned a tough lesson. Suicide Squad, obviously, they are bad guys. Despicable Me 2 was banned too. Oh, that's interesting. Despicable Me 2 was never released in China. Though it's anyone's guess why. An article on the subject in the LA Times asserts the movie was prevented from screening in China and alleges it's unclear why the movie was denied release. The article quotes Robert Kane, a producer and consultant specializing in China, saying it's very unlikely it was about the content of the film. The plot thickens because Chinese authorities claim Despicable Me 2 wasn't submitted for release in China. To bolster its own claims, the Chinese government approved Despicable Me 3 for release in China. Well, that's not going to make a whole hell of a lot of sense. So maybe it doesn't matter if they banned the Rise of Gru, because you're not getting all the movies anyway. So whatever. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.